Hello, welcome. This is Sunil. If you are in the market for buying a new car and you're thinking about should I buy the car or should I lease the car or should I finance the car, or you're just looking for what's the cheapest option or the biggest bang for the buck, I'm going to cover this in this video. In this video, I'm going to cover what are the three main options of buying a car, what are the other considerations you want to have, and the third one is the other important other considerations you need to know before you make a purchase. So before I get into the options, could you do me a favor and then like and subscribe the videos? It helps me a lot, and then also it helps the algorithm to rank me a little higher and to spread this message. Thank you for doing that. Let's look at the three main options of buying a car. Number one is buying it outright. So buying it outright, you pay from your savings or your some other way of paying, and then there is no monthly cost, and then also you're not worrying about what the interest rates are. And the second option is by finance. So either you can put in a deposit or you don't have to put in a deposit, and then you pay a fixed monthly deposit based on the interest rates. And the third is the lease. So lease, you don't own the car, but you can every 3 years or 5 years you can change the car. You don't have to worry about the depreciation cost of the car, and then also it's a fixed monthly payment, so where you can pay. So these are the three main option of buying a car. Let's jump in and then look at the calculations how the three options work. Okay, for this video assumptions, I'm going to use a Honda Accord 2024 LX. That's the basic standard model. So it comes to $27,895 and tax. So I'm looking at California. So I think it comes about 8.5%, 9% tax. So, and we're looking at 36 months, and for lease and finance option, we are looking at 15,000 years or miles per year. Those are the options. And then we are looking at the calculations. There's a couple of calculations. So there is one with no deposit, and there's another option with deposit. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to attach this spreadsheet in the video description, so you can download and then you can change the period or the cost of the car and the interest rates, and then you can figure out what's the best option. Let's go through the option what we have right now. Okay, so some fundamentals. So let's do it with no deposit. So no deposit is, sorry, deposit 0 and 0. Okay, so we're looking at 36 months, as I said, 15,000 mileage. So we're looking at about 3 years. So that is 45,000 miles, not kilometers. I'm in UK, so I'm going to put in miles. Okay, and the resale value is important. So there's two different section of calculation. So the first one saying what if the resale value is 20,000, and what the resale value is 15,000. So I had a rough look at what a Honda 2024 3 years old Honda Accord looks like. It's you can get up to 20,000 and then up to 15,000. So this is something you can check, but I've just used two extreme positions. So 15,000 is the lowest you can get, and the 20,000 is the highest you can get. So the three main options, we are looking at cash, finance, and lease. So the cash price for the car is $27,895. It comes directly from the price of a honda.com, $27,895. And the tax and fees for California, I think it comes to $3,068. For the finance and the lease is exactly the same. So the total cost is $30,963.45 cents. So that's the cost of the car. So for cash, finance, and lease, the cost of the car is not going to change. But when you add the monthly payment, so the monthly payment is 922. So, and for the lease is 402. That again comes from the lease. So if you put in no deposit, no deposit, comes to 402, and finances it comes to 922. So we are looking at $922 per month, $402 for a lease, 36 month, and the actual cost now, the car cost comes to 922 into 36 plus the interest rate. The interest rate at the moment is 3.9. Okay, so 922 into 36 plus the interest, that comes to 34,399. The lease is $402 into 36, that gives you 17,230 plus 9.89% interest right now. So those three numbers will give you 17,230, 34,000.3, and if you're paying cash, there is no interest rate, so you're just paying 30,000. So there is a three options. Let's talk about opportunity cost. One of the things we think about opportunity cost is if we are paying cash upright, that money could have been used for something else, like a high interest account or a SP 500 or a FTSE 100 over here. So you could get up to 8 to 10% historically. So, but at the moment, I'm saying if you put in cash, you're losing 1,207 every year. So that's what I'm saying as an opportunity cost. You're losing that money, and mileage is 45,000. That is 15,000 times 3. So we're looking at for 36 months. So 45,000. And the resale value, the first section we are looking at is for if you're getting 20,000, what's the cost? So for 20,000, the cost incurred is the final total cost minus the resale value, that is 10,963. So you're looking at 34,300 minus 20,000, that is 14,300. And 17,000 and 70,000 is the same because you don't own the car, so you can't sell the car. It is what it is. Unless you want to buy the car after 3 years, there might be a different lease. But this video just covers what's the best option between car, cash, lease, and finance. So I'm going to put in opportunity cost. That's the cost you might be missing. As I said, that's the very minimum I'll put in as the money you could have earned. So 12,100 and change, 14,300 and change, 17,300 change. So obviously at 20,000 resale value, the cheapest option would be to buy it upright. Depends on your financial scenario, but at least you know the numbers. That's what the numbers are. And for a deposit of 0 and the resale value of 15,000, you're looking at the cheapest is still 17,117, 19,000 and 17,000. So probably both are the cheapest option. They are very similar. So either you could lease or you could buy the car. So there's a $100 difference. So that is still the cheapest, and that probably is the second cheapest. So I would say about the same price if you want to lease or buy the car upright, provided the resale value is 15,000. So that makes a big difference whether what you want to do. Okay, so that is with no deposit. I'm going to go through with deposit. So only difference is the deposit is $5,000. 5,000. Okay, so the resale value is either 20,000 at the high end, and or it's 15,000 at the very low end. So I'm not going to go through this. These are exactly the same. So we have got cash option, finance option, and lease, and the calculation is exactly the same. But when you look at the cost opportunity, so buying outright is probably not the best option. So if you're putting in a deposit of $5,000 upfront, so the overall cost comes to 9,000. That is, it's the cheapest option. The lease and buying upfront probably is same. And this is if the resale value is 15,000. So you have the cheapest option is to lease. So probably if you put in $5,000, probably the cheapest option is to lease the car. Hopefully this spreadsheet is for yours to download, so you can put in whatever Jeep, Cadillac, whatever car you want to put in the monthly, the cost, and the tax, and then it'll throw in what the best option it is. Remember, the car sellers, they are incentivized to get the maximum out of you. So what you want to do is ask the right questions, but putting in the numbers on the website and then just putting in those numbers, it'll give you true value of what the car value is worth. So do you want to put in upfront, or do you want to go for a finance or the lease? Takes all the guesswork of the equation. So they don't usually, when you go to the car dealers, they don't mention what the percentage is. All they are trying to entice you is what the per month value is. They're going to try to get you the lowest per month, but in a long term it might be a lot more expensive. So have a look at this spreadsheet, and numbers don't lie. So the takeaway I would say from those calculations when you saw it, the best option probably for me is you want to put in a deposit. In this case, an example, I'll put in a $5,000 for a 30,000 car. That would be the best option, but keep in mind you want to consider that it's subject to the resale value and the interest rates. If the interest rates are lower, probably the leasing might be a better option. If the interest rates are much higher, probably the finance or buying it outright is the best option. And then also the resale value. Right now, the resale value is way higher. So I'm surprised how high the resale value of the car is. So depending on what the resale value is, probably the numbers will give you what the best option is. So this video will give you an answer for whatever car you want to buy. I can't tell you just based on what car, what the value is. I'm using Honda Accord as an example, but you can put in and then you can get a really good numbers. Then the second thing let's do is all the different considerations, right? So it's just not putting in the numbers, but let's go through the first option of buying it outright. What are the pros and cons about buying it outright? So the top thing about buying a car outright is there's no monthly payment. There's no the interest rate fluctuation. You don't have to worry about that. And there is no monthly payment. So these are three big things. So there's nothing to be worried about. So the negative things about that is you have to put in a big chunk of money or your savings towards the car. And then also the depreciation costs. You might lose on the opportunity cost and the car depreciation. If it depreciates too much, you lose money. And also that particular 30,000, you could have made more money investing it into stocks, shares, or real estate or other things. So those for me is the big negative about buying a car outright. The finance, let's look at the pros of finance is you're using somebody else's money, that is bank's money, and you have to put in a very little deposit, and then there's a fixed monthly price, and you don't have to worry about the bigger payment, or it is cheaper long run. So it is cheaper long run, fixed monthly statements. You're using somebody else's money. Those are the big plus for finance. The negatives are you might be paying high installment rates depending on the interest rate. So if the interest rates are much higher, you probably will have to pay much higher interest rates. So number 3 is by lease. So the pros and cons of the lease. So the pros is you can get new cars and upgrade better cars. And then also you don't have to worry about what the market fluctuation or what the other things are. So the number one benefit is you can upgrade or switch to a new car, and then you don't have to worry about selling or what the depreciation cost of the car is. So I think probably it'll help if there is huge fluctuation in depreciation, but probably leasing is the best option. And the negatives are higher monthly payments, and then also there might be associated costs, like you need to fix the car in a certain garage or a certain way, and then you don't have a control about what the maintenance cost is. And then also it has a fixed annual mileage, so you can't go over 15,000 in this example. So those are the considerations you want to do when you're doing buying, leasing, or finance. So other consideration you want to do is about the car maintenance. So on an average in US is about $300 per month. That includes maintenance, regular parking, tax, and other things. We pay about $300, so we are looking at gas, parking, maintenance, and other car associated costs. So roughly it comes to about $300 per month. So that's the consideration you want to do. So I hope you like this video. So in this video, you have a solid calculation where you can check in. So you have the considerations, what you want to be aware of, and the other cost and maintenance of the car needs to be considered before you can make a judgment on is buying the best option, finance or the lease. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this kind of video, there's more videos on my channel which will help you get to your financial freedom. Till next time, thank you and bye.